City of Stevens Point Plan Commission meeting, recorded April 7, 2025.
All right, I have 6 o'clock. Let's call the Plan Commission meeting to order. Could we get a roll call, please? I'll do it. Weeza's here. Thank you. Kneebone.
Here.
Arnson.
Here.
Beacom.
Here.
Muskoviak.
Here.
Rice.
Here.
Schuler. Schuler.
He's excused.
Only people of a certain age will get that. And Schuler is excused. We do have a quorum, so we will continue. Item number 2 on the agenda is the report of the March 3rd meeting. Those minutes and actions were included in your packet. Thoughts, comments, or a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Kneebone. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that is approved. Item number 3, am I still on mute here? Hang on. Nope, I'm not. I'm good. We're in good shape. All right, item number 3 is a public hearing and action on a request from Adam Sandstrom, representing FFH Holdings LLC, to amend the Stevens Point Comprehensive Plan. Said request amends the future land use designation of an unaddressed parcel bounded by Hoover Avenue and Heffron Street, with the parcel identified in your packet, from commercial, office, multifamily to residential. Adam?
Thank you, Mayor. As commissioners recall, last month we reviewed the preliminary subdivision plat review for a proposed 17-lot subdivision on the subject property, the northwest corner of Hoover Road and Heffron Street. This proposed subdivision would, as I said, create 17 lots that is intended for duplex development, with also the opportunity for 0 lot line duplex and potentially single family if there's a change in direction by the applicant. Most of the lots would be just over 12,000 square feet in size, with the exception of 3 being about 15,000 and 20,000 square feet. As we talked about last month, the proposed lots would be serviced by a public street, and 2 of the agenda items for request this evening, this first one and the next one, would pertain to the future land use designation and the zoning classification of the property. Currently, if we can actually go on the next slide, this is a subdivision plat that was reviewed last month. Common Council did approve the preliminary plat with no additional changes. So in terms of what's in the packet for the final subdivision plat, it's pretty much identical to what was brought before you folks last month. Next slide, just to recap the future land use designation and the zoning classification. Currently, the property is zoned M1 light industrial with a future land use designation of commercial, office, and multifamily. As one could ascertain, a duplex type development would not be consistent with the light industrial zoning classification of the property, nor so with the commercial, office, multifamily future land use designation of the property. So this is kind of going to get into some semantics here. In order to have duplexes that are permitted by right, the property would need to be rezoned from M1 light industrial to the R3 single and 2 family residence district. In order to rezone the property to the R3 district, the future land use designation would have to be amended from commercial, office, and multifamily to residential. As folks recall in the past, any rezoning request has to, in part, be consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. So amending the city's comprehensive plan in this instance is needed in order for the zoning request to be consistent. Staff's recommendation is to approve the future land use designation. The review standards are enclosed within the packet. Really, there's a number of opportunities pertaining to our housing development and economic development element of our comprehensive plan that would support such a designation change. As I mentioned, staff recommends approval.
Okay, before I open the public hearing, are there any clarifying questions? See that look. Go ahead.
I'm still wondering about the difference between a duplex and a 0 lot line situation. You could build a duplex on the line that's a duplex, but then subsequently split the house in 2 essentially and make it 2 separate houses, 2 separate residences. Is that I know that we had talked about this, that it could be developed as either duplexes or zero lot line parcels and split them up. I like the idea of more individual ownership. And so I'm wondering about if it's constructed, and is that part of the plan at all? Is that, and I don't even know, Mike, you might chime in on that. I don't know if that's a viable way to develop a subdivision with duplexes, with ideas of subsequently changing it.
You know, Adam, you want to field that?
Yeah, so for what a zero lot line duplex is you have two residential lots, that shared property line abutting the two lots, that is where the firewall would be separating the two units. So
And individually owned.
Individually owned. So there would be one unit on one parcel. You have the firewall, which is right above the shared property line, and then you have the other residential unit over. Now, these properties, as we talked last month, these proposed lots do meet the minimum lot size and lot width should the applicant or a future property owner would have a duplex and would want to subdivide that lot into two. The plan is to situate the duplexes right smack dab in the middle of these proposed lots so that that, along with it being constructed, the duplexes to be zero lot line down the road. So it's more just providing that flexibility if future property owners would want to subdivide that. Really, all the brunt work is already in place. It would meet zoning regulations, it would meet building regulations as well.
All right, good, thanks.
All right, with that, I will declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to offer testimony on this request, step to the lectern, please, and provide that testimony. This is a quasi, well, no, it's a legal procedure, so we will announce it 3 times. The public hearing is still open. And for the third and final time, you had me there, Morrow. Saw someone walk in, I thought they were going to speak. For the third and final time, the public hearing remains open. Hearing no one wishing to provide testimony, I will declare the public hearing closed, and we are looking for action on that request. Commissioners, thoughts, comments, or a motion? Commissioner Beacom.
I'd make a motion to approve the request to amend the comprehensive plan with staff recommendations.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Koviak. Discussion? Any additional comments from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is approved. Related, item number 4 is an additional public hearing with subsequent action on a request from Adam Sandstrom representing FFH Holdings to rezone an unaddressed parcel bounded by Hoover and Heffron with the parcel ID in your packet from light industrial to single and 2-family residential districts. I know Adam had talked about this a little bit. Adam, anything to add here?
Only thing to add is duplex uses would be permitted with the proposed zoning classification, and as I mentioned earlier, it meets the minimum performance standards for that district, lot size and lot width. So.
Again, Commissioners, before I open the public hearing, any clarifying questions? Good. Public hearing is declared open on this item. Anyone wishing to offer testimony on this item, step forward to the lectern and provide that testimony. People are moving. And Alderperson, go ahead.
Sean Morrow, I'm the alderperson for Area 11. I think that to have more housing options is a very good thing for us. I know that we have that we need a lot of housing here. We are short, and this would be a great option for us.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open. Public hearing remains open. And for the third and final time, the public hearing is open. Seeing and hearing no one else wishing to speak, I will declare the public hearing closed and bring it back to the Commissioners. Commissioners, what are your wishes? Commissioner Beacom.
I'd make a motion to rezone the parcel from M1 to R3 with staff recommendations.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Koviak. Discussion? Any additional comments from the audience? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we are approved. Item number 5, This is again a public hearing and a subsequent action from a request from Adam Sandstrom representing FFH Holdings for a final subdivision plat review of the proposed subdivision on the unaddressed parcel bounded by Hoover and Heffron with the parcel identified in your packet, consistent with Chapter 20.05 Sub 2. This is the same basic plat review that you saw last month. There's really no changes here, right?
Correct, no changes.
So before we open the public hearing, any questions from the commissioners? Okay. Public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to offer testimony on this plat review, step forward to the lectern and provide that testimony. Public hearing remains open. For the third and final time, the public hearing is open. Seeing no one wishing to offer testimony, we'll declare that closed. Bring it back to the commissioners. Commissioners, what are your wishes? Come on, Mike.
Give you the hat trick.
Somebody else can take it.
I'll move approval of the final subdivision plat review.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'll give this second to Kneebone.
No one else did.
Yeah, that makes a Kneebone. Discussion? Comments from the audience? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is approved. And I just lost my spot.
There you go.
Yes. And number 6 is a public hearing and subsequent action on a request from Michael Bieniek. Hope I got close. I'll take it. Representing FERRELLGAS for a conditional use permit to construct a wireless communication tower on a property located at 3315 Wayne Street with the parcel identified in your packet, consistent with Chapter 23, Sub 2, .02, Sub 4, Sub D, Sub 3. Adam?
Right. So the applicant, on behalf of FERRELLGAS LP, is requesting this conditional use permit to construct a 175-foot tall cell tower on the subject property here. Wayne Street, as you can see, is immediately adjacent to the railroad tracks. This would be well east of Michigan Ave, just for a little bit of context. Proposed cell tower is intended for AT&T Mobility and for the Union Pacific Railroad, with the facility also being available for use by wireless carriers here in the region. This cell tower would be located on a 50-foot by 50-foot pad, situated more so on the east half of the property. As folks on the commission recall from, I think, late last year, we went through an ordinance change through our wireless cell tower ordinances. Back in the early 2010s, I believe, there were some pretty significant changes in state law pertaining to a municipality's ability to govern cell tower requests. Basically, what it says is you can require special use considerations, such as, in this case, a conditional use permit, but it, for lack of better terms, really does stymie municipalities' ability to place restrictions or just outright prohibit it altogether. So within our ordinance that we approved late last year, we did make cell towers a conditional use within all zoning districts. This subject property being zone M2 heavy industrial would require that conditional use permit. Next slide, you can see just the rough site plan again showing where the proposed cell tower will be in relation to the property. The application submittal from the applicant, as I'm sure folks can ascertain, is quite detailed. What I'll say is, obviously there's a lot of considerations in place for where's the best location for cell towers. In this case, on a property zone, heavy industrial, right adjacent to the railroad tracks, and separated pretty significantly from the closest residential neighborhoods here in town. This is, in my opinion, one of the better, if not one of the best locations for a cell tower here, just to make sure that doesn't pose any negative characteristics for our residents here in the city. Staff would recommend approval, subject to those conditions shown on the screen.
Okay. In this case, I do have a question.
Yes.
At 175 feet, the fall radius, does it affect other properties, or could it potentially affect other properties at 175 feet?
I will defer to the applicant.
It's up to the lectern, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Bieniek. I'm with a company called LCC Telecom Services. We are located at 10700 West Higgins Road, Suite 240 in Rosemont, Illinois. And we represent a company called City Switch. They're the ones building this tower. And typically what they try and do is they rent or lease space through the railroad. So that's why we're so close to the railroad. Union Pacific, as Mr. Kuhn had mentioned, would be potentially going on that tower. Now, to answer your question about the fall zone, towers are not designed to do this. They're designed to collapse onto themselves. And so what happens is, and this is something that's found in the state statutes, the applicant can provide what's called a fall zone letter. So the tower manufacturer, essentially, they don't design these towers to fail, but in the unlikely event that they do, they design them to collapse onto themselves. In this case, this tower is designed to have a 50-foot wide fall zone radius, so it would fall within that property. It would be outside the lease parcel, but it would fall within it. But as I mentioned, what happens is a monopole does not fall over. It falls, the top portion at that break point would bend down, and all the cabling inside would hold it kind of like as a hinge and hold it in place until the tower was fixed, so to speak. So it does not, it doesn't release anything down to the ground.
So at 50 feet, with the 50 feet designed fall radius, you wouldn't even hit Wayne Street at that point, correct?
Correct. Yeah, because Wayne Street, from the edge of our compound, is like 49 and 2/3 feet away. So that's just to the edge of the compound, and then the tower is centered in that, so it's another 25 feet.
Okay. And this isn't exactly relevant to the case necessarily, but have you been asked, especially by the railroads, since you work with those primarily, to disguise the water or the cell towers? In the past, we've used restrictions like make it look like a flagpole. Or I've seen most recently some really cool ones that actually look like a tree. With a wire cage around it and greenery, it looks like a tree at first glance. Is that the sort of thing that they are able to do?
Not on a, yes, they could, but you have to think about it. This is 175 feet tall, 165 feet tall. So there's not too many pine trees in this part of the country that are that tall.
Not that big.
So essentially what you're doing.
But you have worked with that?
Yes, definitely. In fact, another company that we represent, and I did the zoning on, in Wausau at St. Peter's Lutheran Church, we ended up putting a monopine back behind the church. Interesting. It's a significantly shorter tower, so it does work that way. We had originally proposed the monopole, but SHPO, it's semi-historic in that area, so they decided we needed to do a monopine.
Interesting. I just recently became aware of the ones that look like trees. All along, we've said make it a flagpole, and the tree option is so much cooler.
Well, flagpoles are no longer viable options. The problem is, back when the smartphones came out, before that, the only thing you did with the phone was make a call and receive a call. When Steve Jobs brought out his, smartphone, that was a game changer, because what happened is, not only did you do that, you started texting, you get all the games and all the apps and everything on those phones. So they went from being a telephone to being a mini computer. And what happens is all that data, you have wireless and you have data that are going through these cell sites. And if you look at a tower, it used to be at the base of the tower you had big buildings that housed all the equipment. And that was because all the electronics were down at the base of the tower. Now, if you go by a cell site, if you look at the antennas, behind it, there's like a little box that's up there. Those are called radio remote units. And that's where a lot of that data is going transferred. So everything that was at the base, you still have some, but a lot of it is now up at the top. And in a flagpole, it's very limited space, and it's got a shroud around it. And what happens with those flagpoles, they get very hot because it's it's enclosing the additional equipment. And so they're not really viable anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can't upgrade their equipment very easily.
Sorry for going off track there. I appreciate the explanation. Let's open the public hearing. Public hearing is open. Any testimony on this request? Step forward to the lectern. Public hearing remains open. And for the third and final time, the public hearing is open. Seeing no one wishing to speak, we'll declare the public hearing closed. Commissioners, what are your wishes? Alder Kneebone.
Since it's in my district, and I did venture over there, it is an ideal spot. It was quite a journey to venture back in that space. So I would move to approve the conditional use permit to construct a wireless communication tower on the property located at 3315 Wayne Street.
With staff recommendations.
With staff recommendations.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Koviak. Discussion. Additional comments from the audience? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And that is approved. Thank you, Mr. Bieniek. All right. Item number 7 is a request from Daniel Von Ebers, representing John Parker Development LLC, for a site plan review to construct a parking garage addition and surface parking lots on a property located at 1501 North Point Drive, with the parcel identified in your packet, consistent with Chapter 23.02, Sub 2, Sub F, Sub 5, Sub B. This is not a public hearing. Adam?
Thank you, Mayor. So as the Mayor mentioned, Century Insurance is looking to construct an addition onto their parking garage. This would be on the eastern side of the existing parking garage, as well as additional surface parking more towards the southwest corner of the property. This proposed parking garage addition would be approximately 70,000 square feet in size and provide an additional 290 parking stalls. This would be of the same height as the existing parking garage. Additional surface parking areas, again, on the southwest corner of the property. This would provide an additional 130 stalls. See here on the slide here, this property falls within our BTID 5 overlay district, and as folks recall from prior developments, any sort of new development, additions, parking lots, et cetera, requires a site plan review for any properties within this overlay district. Next slide, you can see the subject property, again, an aerial view of it with the proposed parking garage addition. This would be the area, it's a little bit harder to see here on the screen, but it would be the area kind of bolded more in black, and then the southern part would be the additional surface parking surrounding that retention pond. As it relates to the site plan review, I think the two big things that are privy for your review is, one, the architectural element of the building addition. Really, what the goal is of the site plan review is that you have a consistent, more harmonious architectural style for any new buildings or building additions, making sure that it's consistent with all of the other buildings along this Division Street corridor. This proposed parking garage addition would contain the same architectural style as the existing garage. I think, in my opinion, the existing garage meets the intent of our architectural styles to a T, so be supportive of that. And then as it relates to the surface parking, really the main consideration is landscaping. We go at length about the landscaping, but needless to say, the proposed landscaping plan goes above and beyond what we would otherwise require per our landscaping ordinance, which again really does meet the intent of this specialized overlay district. Staff would recommend approval, subject to those two conditions shown on the screen.
Thank you. And as I think everybody in this room knows, Century has been a tremendous partner. And short of the city, I don't think anyone takes more pride in the entrance to our city than Century Insurance with those corner properties, going well above and beyond when it comes to architectural design and landscaping. So I have no doubt that this will be a nice addition. With that being said, any comments at all from the audience? I will bring it back to the commissioners. Commissioners, thoughts, comments, or a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rice. Discussion. Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that is approved. Item number 3 is a discussion only item on our zoning code rewrite.
All right.
Adam?
So the report in the packet outlines some new relevant information regarding summer internship help and the proposed public informational meetings that you show here on the screen. So what I did, as I referenced last month, split the city into 13 different areas, planning to have a public informational meeting within each of these starting in about mid-May through the end of October. This will not be the only sort of public engagement that will occur as part of the zoning code rewrite. This is arguably one of the opportunities I'm going to have that's going to be most visible to the public, actually having more one-on-one conversations with folks. Schedules for those public informational meetings are shown on the right-hand side of the screen. There's a couple that are still outstanding. The ones that are outstanding, with the exception of the downtown, they're going to occur sometime between September and October, but of course I'll keep you folks appraised once the meeting dates and times for those are established. For folks on the commission who reside within any one of these neighborhoods, definitely encourage you to attend this public informational meeting. You're able to attend as many as you want. All I ask is that you notify me ahead of time that you're planning to attend one of these, just so in the event that there is a quorum of you folks, that we could properly notice that ahead of time.
The same would be true for alderpersons.
Correct.
You're encouraged to attend at least the ones in your district, in your area, that your area covers, but let Adam know so we can make sure and properly notice any quorums that may occur. We certainly don't want to violate any laws, so mark your calendars on all of these.
Yeah, last thing I'll add, I referenced this last month, and I have it in the packet again. Next month, I am planning to have an exercise with you folks, kind of doing a deep dive of our review standards for each of the requests brought before you. Thankfully, this meeting, we've kind of had a little flavor of everything in terms of requests, CUPs, rezones, comp plan amendments, et cetera. So take a look at that. Analyze it, analyze those review standards. Are there things that we require right now for any new development that you think is not pertinent in the year 2025? Conversely, are there things that we don't necessarily require as part of a development or land use proposal that you think ought to be a consideration going forward? If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, plan for May Plan Commission to discuss that further.
Good, and all of these dates will be published on our website, so you'll have a complete list, and prior to each of the meetings, of course, we'll send out another press notification as well as have a news blast on our website to try and remind people. We want to encourage people as much as we can to attend, especially the one in the ice cream district. I heard Belts might be offering a discount on some soft serve. Is that no?
Fake news, Mike.
Fake news? All right, fair enough. But yeah, everybody, seriously, we encourage you to attend these meetings. This zoning code rewrite is more comprehensive than we've always done. We've always done kind of one-off amendments as needed. So this is the first large one that we've done in a couple of decades. So we encourage as much participation as possible. Of course, if you can't make the one in your district, you can certainly submit comments or thoughts to the Community Development Department via email, to tie a note around a rock, throw it through the window, whatever happens to work. We want people to participate. And that brings us to item number 9, which is the January and February 2025 monthly reports. Those are included in your packet. Director Kivela, do you want to go over some of the highlights?
Yeah, certainly happy to. Not a lot of single family, 2-family, as you can see, for January. In terms of February, there was 1 single family. Multifamily is the Oaks and Maria, so that was mentioned in the director's report previously, so the work on that continues. I believe they are finishing up footings here soon, so good to see that progressing, and hopefully we continue to have a nice spring for them to continue. I will say, other than that, UW Credit Union, ENT are probably the 2 other really visible ones. UW Credit Union is over by Dunham's. ENT is in our East Park Commerce Center. So happy to take any questions if there are any.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Great. Comments from the audience? All right. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to item number 10, which is the director's report. And Director, report.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I did not give you a written report today, so I apologize about that. Some quick highlights, kind of working off of last month's report. Forest Creek, so the bidding process for the lot sales has ended. We did write the initial offers for everyone that has placed a bid, and those have been sent out.
Signed 7 of them today.
There are 7 of them already ready to go. So
We got the closings, we're going to talk about that tomorrow, scheduled closings.
perfect. The only issue we ran into is there is not a true connection point using only city roads. And right now, there are weight restrictions on county roads and township roads. So we are working through that with the town of Hull, but we do not believe that will be an issue. 1,700 Strongs, that property has sold, so that is an RDA property. We did work through the closing of that.
That's the old dance studio / church.
Church, yep. Just down the block from City Hall. So excited to see some progress on that, hopefully this summer, some development. They are planning a duplex. Working off of Adam's zoning code update, we do have a second intern. There was an individual interested in a volunteer internship. They're from University of La Crosse. So they are going to come in and assist us this summer with some economic development tasks. So we're excited for that. And then the final item, I'm actually going to pass to Chris, if he would be so kind, to talk about a new program.
Just this last week, the Redevelopment Authority had approved a complimentary program for home improvements. Last, I guess, 2 years ago, we had approved the Housing Modernization Loan as a revolving loan fund for homeowners in the city of Stevens Point. And just last week, they had approved a rental improvement program to also offer a low interest rate loan to rental property owners within the city of Stevens Point that agree to provide some additional I guess, tenant access provisions, so renting to folks who may struggle to find housing otherwise, or to folks at low to moderate income as well. So we have a complimentary low interest rate loan revolving in the community now to hopefully improve some additional housing stock, and that was based off of recommendations that we had from our 2017 housing study and our housing task force report that was produced a couple of years ago. So we're thankful to have their approval of that program and to have it operating.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
That is it, unless there's any questions.
I want to add one more thing. Community Development has some additional staff people. Maria is taking over for Sandy Kraske, who's retiring from the Assessors Department. You probably are aware of that, but we do now have Emma Thompson, not that Emma Thompson, right? Who has started in the Community Development Department, who will be taking over Maria's position. So if you have not yet met Emma, I would encourage you to pop in, say hi, welcome her to our team.
Good note, thank you.
And with that, before we adjourn, I want to remind everybody that today starts Trivia Week. 55 years of the world's largest trivia contest right here in downtown, or in Stevens Point. The whole community gets involved. Registration starts today. There is Hits Week on 90 FM. Culminating at the beginning of the contest on Friday with a trivia parade, which goes through the campus area starting at 4 p.m. And then you get time to sit in front of your radio at 6 p.m. to tune into the world's largest trivia contest, going for 54 straight hours, ending Sunday midnight. Good luck to everyone. And with that, we are adjourned at 6:33.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.